Hey y'all, today's the third episode for PValley. I am labeling it What Can You Do for Chucalissa? In short, Chucalissa. Think of it as that because that was the general theme that kept coming up, which is yeah, a casino is coming, but how does it benefit the locals? How does it help the people who are here every day living in this area? And coming from a casino town, I'm glad they are asking this question, and it would be prudent of anyone to do so. Yeah, tourists come in, but do tourist dollars really stay? That's the concern. So they open with Corbin, the biracial child of the Caucasian landowner who was sleeping with his maid. And he's now, the bastard child that had to be kept a secret and didn't come into anything regarding his father until his daddy died. And honey, the way Uncle Clifford came to the cotton field. Okay, first off, Corbin was working a John Deere cotton picker. I was like, okay, you just don't expect to see those things. Like I see it where I'm from. I don't see it on TV. So it kind of like what warmed my heart just a little bit. But Clifford took the cake when he showed up in his antebellum red lace Chantilly style booty lifter, corset at the waist, the hips and the butt lift, and with the matching umbrella. I was like, yes, indeed. And all this heat, gone, baby. Knock it out. And hey, I feel like it's a real like acknowledge or homage to like the Garden of Secrets of Evil, Midnight, the Good and Evil. I don't know. I'll look it up again. But it's like the character name there was Chablis. Miss Chablis was a character in that movie on her own. And so it's like, is this a throwback to that? At any rate, he discussed with Corbin what's going on. Corbin is very serious with, look, and anybody with good sense or half a mind to do some math can get this. I would rather lease the land and get my 10 million for leasing than being paid 1 million one time. Like, come on, y'all. So anyone who, like he said, didn't go through all of daddy's inheritance and now they broke and they just want some money, you can understand the value of, I can wait. Especially if you've been poor, broke, and black. Honey, I can wait. Give me my 10 million. Take your time. Figure it out. I don't have to take your little 1 million and scurry off into the sewers because that's stupid. I mean, it's not the brightest idea. Let me not say it's stupid. It's not the smartest move. We move on from Clifford. We learn Uncle Clifford and Corbin go way back to elementary school. And Uncle Clifford has been holding this secret for years. And it just goes to speak of how like those quiet whispers and polite secrets that are known in the community, known by children, people have to work and people have to carry that. And what's the real impact of it? Skipping along, we see Mercedes. We shift to Mercedes in the club doing a one-on-one for a guy that she calls coach. We learn he is apparently an NFL football coach for Memphis or in Memphis. So hello, that would be Tennessee Titans. He offers to put her up in a condo on the river. I think the best answer Mercedes gave, rather than, push the issue, you're married. She did bring it up. Where do I fit in? It's like it's not a conversation. The fantasy is cheap. In real life, I don't think you can afford this or afford her. And I was like, oh, yes, indeed. I wish that's a line that becomes popular so more people can either have the standards there to be like, yeah, okay, that's cute. We're going to sell this dream. But what happens in the long run? I'm glad Mercedes is looking long term. So it sounds like she's had her time, but now things are a little different. We then cut to the girls as we learn the Caucasian stripper name is Gidget. Gidget and Autumn Night are wig shopping. And I promise y'all, I said, wait, what now? I started to take notes when Gidget said, her mama said a stripper should always have looks. Look, I feel like every woman should always have looks. Different hairstyles, different clothing styles for the seasons, for your mood, for the day, period. But I just wanted to know, do the strippers have a rule book? And if so, is it Googleable? Can I find this online and read more about it? What's going on here? I would like to learn. So we move to Autumn is now in the club. Remember I talked about this earlier. So we get her talent is she's a lap dancer. That's her specialty. Like Mercedes has her specialty, which is she's the top notch, top tier. She can draw the crowd. But it's like Autumn isn't a pole dancer, or that's not her strongest strength. And I talked about prior to recordings. Number one, Mercedes is here. Two, Keyshawn, M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I is in the middle, Gidget, a little lower, and then Autumn Night when it comes to pole work. And that's cool. If there's tiers to this, levels to this, it's levels to life. I feel like producer, writer, Miss Hall is setting out Easter eggs for us as to see what's going on. Starting going on with Isaiah Washington speaking patois. Because we cut to Andre walking through talking to Isaiah Washington, mayor of Chucalissa. Now listen, that patois touched my heart. It warmed me tremendously. I was really shocked that they spoke of the tribe, the Choctaw, being in their area more, because I'm familiar with them being more associated with our parish over in Louisiana versus going that far east into Mississippi. I'm not saying they can't. The tribes did spread. The tribes did carry. This is their native land. I'm just saying what I know. And with that being said, I think it is very humbling to have on TV where Isaiah Washington may be portraying a role, speaking in patois, paying homage to the ancestors, paying homage to the elders, showing real love. And like he said, it will tattoo on your heart. Like, people even question, or they don't want to go back to where they came from. It's too small, it's too podunk, it's too nothing there, or they see no value. At the end of the day, I appreciate that conversation happening, but I do have to question. I don't care how much Isaiah Washington is the mayor, number one. He is totally for the casino, clearly, because apparently he's basically been bought. The brothers of Corbin have basically put him into the position. I would think you're a mayor of a little town. It's a turnout, but clearly I don't know how backroom politics work, so here we are. Isaiah owes them a favor. He is rocking a herringbone. It is smaller than I would rock. It's smaller than I prefer, but I love the continuity here. We know this is a cultural thing. But child, why is he wearing a full suit in that heat and not a droplet of sweat? Y'all need to stop playing games. I'm hot thinking about my impending trip back down south right now. And you better believe I am packing and coordinating so I can stay cool as possible when I have to be out in public. Because I'm trying not to be, but unfortunately going home for COVID-related deaths and just trying to be a good friend to family. And at any rate, the point is, it's too doggone hot for that whole suit. I would like to curse, but I don't know if that's allowed, like talking about on YouTube. So work with me. So back on track. It is a quick fashion show that I did enjoy, starting with that herringbone showing up. Then of course the patois was just the icing on the cake. But I am confused. Moving on to the next thing. They always show working women scoffing down food like they ain't never ate before. Look, I know Autumn Night is struggling, but she ain't struggling that much. She ain't got no problem buying liquor. She ain't got no problem drinking all the liquor. She be at the bar with it. She be at home with it. Yeah, you heard that code switch? She be. These are African American vernacular English verbs and conjugations that I'm putting together. But guess what? This is also a dialect from my place of living in my hometown area. So I'm just like, last I checked, strippers be eating. They be eating the best. They eat the most. And as those girls walked in, which was really rude to me, and jumped on their tab and ran Andre off. See, strippers aside, I don't like hanging out. Me and coworkers can't be like that outside of work. I'm here for work, and I go on home, and I mind my business. Because this is how you get dragged into politics at work and problems at work when all you want to do is collect a check and be good and like, I'm Gucci. Let me go. We ain't got to talk about all that. You don't need to know my family because you don't care. Because when it's time to get rid of you or they time to make a move against you, they don't think about your family. They don't care then. So let's not play like you care now. But how they crashed the dinner, y'all tell me, do you feel that way? Because maybe I'm the oddball here and I'm okay with that. But do you want to just be kicking it with coworkers as such? But they don't even really know each other. I'm not saying I haven't developed friendships at work. I have. And I still keep in touch with folks and we go out. But that's different. They just popped up and threw themselves in the mix. Like, ooh, look at this. And two, I don't know who I flirt with and how I flirt. That's my business. Not for everybody to see. You know what I mean? But either way, I just don't like nosy people and how that works out. So let me know what your thoughts are, how you interact with folks at work. And do you see this a lot in movies, TVs, media? Strippers or working girls are always hungry and scarfing down a lot of food like they ain't ate in years. They make money. moving on with the and I know I opened up already about Corbin with that John Deere tractor, but apparently it came later in the episode, and I talked about it earlier. I guess I was that excited about Clifford in that outfit and Corbin on that tractor. That tractor is worth good money. I'm just saying. I do wonder more about Sister Patrice Woodbine. So that's the character name that plays Mercedes' mom. Has her nose been broken, or was it like that via birth? Not that I'm hating on it. Not that I'm discussing her in a ugly way. I'm asking because, ooh, my lips look like Duchess from Black Ink Crew. Okay, well, I asked because it's really distinguished and it's pronounced. And I would like to know more. Like, was that always the case or did it just occur? But baby, I loved how she cursed in church. Y'all see that? And then within seconds, she called out Mercedes for being so-called disrespectful in the house of the Lord. If I didn't grow up with it, if I still don't know those women, you look, let me take these glasses off. Y'all, I don't know if you know, but these people do exist. This is not a mockery. This is not I think it's being polite actually, because they can be a lot worse. This ain't for play. There are those church ladies, men too, but I mean, I'm a woman, so I interact more with the ladies of the church growing up. Ooh, being an adult, child, interact. Ooh, it is something to behold how no one sees the paradigm of inconsistencies and hypocrisy. Excuse me, I just couldn't get that out, and then I saw that bump on my face, and it irks me. If you've watched any prior videos, I start to notice my skin when I do this. Look, let me just tell y'all, I was perplexed, and I wish Mercedes got the love back, but at some point, I know she's not going to get it, and if she does get it, Mercedes needs to come to terms with this may not be what she wants. Simple as that. Yeah, you can love your mother from afar. I personally can't imagine having to have that relationship with my mother or any child having to endure that, but for her mental freedom, her personal ability to live and navigate in this world, it's like, look, I get you accept your mama for what she is, but you got to see, you get re-traumatized every time you go into this woman's orbit. Do y'all think her mama gonna give her that check? Do you think her mama gonna be able to get that money back to her? Do you think that pastor is really pimping Miss Patrice Woodbine? I mean, Sister Patrice Woodbine? Because we're gonna talk about that in a little bit when we circle back, and it's an issue of appointing who's gonna be the guest pastor while the pastor is traveling, because he got to go to Mississippi Boulevard or wherever. It was too much for me. And I know I'm skipping ahead, but I really want to talk about that because you can see how oppressed Patrice Woodbine is in the patriarchy within that church. Like, can we not talk about that? Because ain't no way a man promised me some, get this money and do this. We got the loan approved. And you told me I'm going to be in that pulpit. Now all of a sudden it's, Clydell going to be able to talk. So, again, put a pin in that because, again, I've noticed writer-director Hall does a good job of laying out Easter eggs. If we saw it today, we're going to see it again down the road. That's why I expect more to come out of that patois. I expect more to come out of the pastor and his conversation with the church. But we skip to the scene where Mercedes is now with her cheer squad. These little girls have done what little girls do, and I hate it as well, and I have to contend with it with my own family. They have tried to post or prepared to post like the bad bitch contest where they all twerking, they got the challenge, and they want everybody to zoom in. Well, this is that real paradigm we grow up with when we talk about we expect too much of black girls. We adultize them, meaning we don't allow black girls to enjoy childhood. We don't allow black girls to really get out and just live life. One of the young ladies calls it to the table about feminism, and Mercedes shuts it down. Well, I don't have time for your feminist rant. But it is a valid conversation to have on both sides. Unfortunately, I don't think we get to have those conversations in depth and with real care and concern, because it's like older black women are worried about how the world receives you, and they are just trying to protect you. Even when Erykah Badu was like, well, it's on the girls to protect and guard the heart. Wear long skirts, go to school and do this. Don't be suggestive in front of men. And I was like, yeah, we want to teach that, but not out loud. Because at the end of the day, a man controls himself. The end. You ain't controlling yourself? Well, let's not call you a man. Let's talk about the horrors of how that gets happened. And we can all have a story of like our youngest age where we notice some man had an extra eye on us or noticed our development a little more than everybody else did. But you don't have to worry, men, male folks, and those who identify as such. The cisgender crowd is ridiculous on this one, including the women. They'll let you, you're just developing as a child, and they let you know you've done something wrong. How? And I was a top-headed child, so don't even get me started. But I get it as well. Conversely, when you're dealing with nieces and cousins, and it's like, whoa, where you going with that outfit on? Who you gonna be with? You know, it start to ask those questions. Or as young as preschool, you can't just wear a skirt or a dress. You got to put them in shorts underneath. And at first, it's because they're gonna climb around and jump on everything, the monkey bars, the slide. But it becomes also an extra barrier, protective measure. But I'm at 15 minutes, so let's move on with Mississippi still getting beat. Ooh, child. You could tell when Mercedes ran in, they had the 3 poles. So Gidget's at the bottom, Mississippi's in the middle, and Mercedes up top. She comes down, put her feet on Mississippi. Keyshawn is her real name, but she calls herself by her stage name, Mississippi. And she feels the pain in her boobs. I wanted to believe it was because she's breastfeeding. But when you can see the placement is really here in the mid-center chest, I was like, oh yeah, that man done punched her in the dead in her chest. So it's like, oh, Mississippi, how long you gonna put up with this girl? It's hard for me to watch because I just have a personality. I want to fix things, but at the end of the day, it's also hard to watch because you know there are women enduring this and men, but they can't leave. They don't know how to leave. They are tied to the situation for whatever reason. So I'm really hoping Diamond, the security guard with the Iraq PTSD, really is able to bring her over because I don't believe they have it set up that she'll be able to do it on her own. I think it's more powerful if she is able to leave and do it on her own versus a man had to pull her out that situation. You know, I think we sell those stories a little too much. What happens when can't nobody pull you out of it but you? Can we start exploring those kind of situations? Back to the little teenage girls with all their booty popping. Mercedes had the best answer, and I'm glad she was able to address them without physical violence because that's what coaches do. Honey, I done ran a many of suicides. I have held a chair. Look, I haven't held the wall or held a chair since pledging, but most definitely outside of pledging, I've done it. Last time, maybe 2011, with working out. You know, because it works the glutes and the thigh muscles. And let me tell y'all, them little girls was slacking. I'm shocked she didn't call that out. Like, hey, that ain't a real chair. Squat down and give me a 90-degree angle. Then she went to, you know, the punishment of give me toe touches. They were still talking, so she upped it from 50 to 75. I think that's useful to show, which is the conversation. Look, stop trying to make it all about objectifying your body. Of course, they tried to snap back. She does it. Why can't they? And I'm glad they didn't lean on, I'm grown. Y'all just kids. Because, you know, kids don't care about that part. But she did speak too. I'm getting paid for it. You're doing it for free. You know, there's other nuances there. We won't unpack that now. Just please remember, I told y'all, Diamond likes Keyshawn, a.k.a. Mississippi. Oh, and we learned that Mississippi's baby name is Reba. I can't believe she's still bringing that baby to the club. That was a conversation amongst us on Facebook. Hell, I may have to go work at PValley. Uncle Clifford babysits. I mean, I ain't got no children for him to be babysitting, but it is an option. Hell, I know places in corporate America that don't offer you daycare like that. And when they do, it's more expensive than what it is in the streets, like a private. But it's convenient. It's in the same building with you. So, hey, back to Reba and that crying. I wish they got a better sound for that crying. Child. But Reba always want to cry at the wrong time. Shout out to Chicago. They played the percolator. It's time for the percolator. It's time for the percolator. I was like, oh, I don't. Trust me, I ain't hear that until I came to the Midwest. I never heard that down south. But either way, it's popping. It's a strip club. You should hear that. And I wanted to say, when that came, look, I know we are not expected to talk about therapy. This will be a release. Enjoy the show and move on. But it would be nice to see Autumn Night get some therapy. Because her holding Reba's baby and even hearing that baby, you could see it just sets her off. Like, she conveys it. The actress who plays Autumn Night conveys it really well. Or Miss Savage based on her fake ID. However, at what point can we go get some therapy for Keyshawn, some therapy for Diamond, some therapy for Mercedes, some therapy for Sister Patrice Woodbine, some therapy for Autumn Night? Y'all hear me keep saying therapy? Like, can we not talk about health? It's enough for them. They can do group therapy and make it affordable for everybody, excuse me, and chip in. Ain't even got to pay insurance. Go find one counselor in town and bring them back. License, please. And get some modality specialty. They need some CBT, cognitive behavior therapy with a trauma focus, because all of them got some kind of trauma. All of them got some kind of trauma. Can y'all imagine having to deal with these people and you don't know these things at the frontal lobe? Like, oh, I'm walking into someone who's been abused or has an issue here. But I like the fact that even when Autumn got as drunk as she could get, who is that bartender lady? Y'all, what movie do we know her from? I want to believe she's the little girl from the Tina Turner movie, but that's not her. She's from something else, but she's from our movies. But she cut Autumn off, gave her some water. Autumn tried to get the strip club patrons to buy her some drinks. I guess she felt some kind of infatuated with Mercedes name on a pole. I don't feel like she felt challenged, but I felt like she was like, ooh, I can do that. This is exciting. Autumn, when they got on that pole, it was going to threaten everybody's life, liberty, and safety. Just general as that. I'm glad Mercedes kept it professional. Even when she fell over, she got on top of her, gave her some crowd-pleasing moves. But she checked her good. This is one time Mercedes was very right in checking her, which is, look, I don't care, but you will not be on my pole. And I didn't take that as a threat because of the money. That's literally a safety precaution. Look, we're in gymnastics. We used to be in gymnastics 4 times a week. So you quickly learn what it takes to watch out for the body. And even with working out, you got to do the workouts modified if you cannot do it in this way so the body does not get injured. Oh my word, because it takes so long for the body to heal. And think about it, y'all. They ain't got no insurance. Ain't no Aflac duck walking around PValley Club. So they got to make sure they're healthy, able to show up at work at all times and be able to collect cash and walk out the door. So we transitioned on. They did play 3-6 Mafia. Slide on your knob. Move on. I am mad DJ Never Scared is in high school. In whole high school. And Lil Murder showed up. But I was like, wait, what? It just reminded me of those older guys with the younger guys, and somehow they have that friendship form. Birdman, Lil Wayne. I've seen it time and again. It's either some uncle role, then it becomes a brother role and all this other stuff. But I was glad to see them being shown as sweating. How are we in the Delta and don't nobody ever sweat? Come on. Nobody sweats. Okay, I know I'm bucking my eyes, but y'all, it's just always hot. And maybe I'm real sensitive to it because I'm allergic to the heat. Yes, that's a real thing. I am allergic to the heat. I will break out and eventually I'll pass out when I'm too hot. But growing up in that, man, it's always some air. But these people just always outside. It's hotter now than it was when we were younger. That's the way I feel, but I could be wrong. So we move on to, remember at that dinner, our midnight breakfast, whatever Andre and Autumn was having, the older man brought up, hey, you should go see the mounds since y'all tourists here and you're hanging out. So she called him up on that and they went to go see the mounds. Andre, we learned, has a connection to the area. He grew up there. His grandmother was there. Isaiah thanked him for coming back kind of thing when he was talking to him as the mayor. But in the conversation between Andre and Autumn, I'm bringing it down a notch, she listened to everything he had to say about this Promised Land casino. And she questioned, that's good and all for tourists. It's nice the money will be made. But what will the locals get? Now, I personally can see, the employment makes a difference. But I'm glad, again, that question's being asked. Because where does that tax revenue go? What will be increased with that? But he basically told her, look around. And he showed her pictures of dilapidated buildings and whatnot. I was like, what else is here? And I get it. There's fear on some sides, which is change is not good. Or change leaves us behind and nothing ever changed. So why would we be for the change and we don't benefit from it? That is a very solid, very honest conversation to have. And I feel like all of us should be having it at every part of local, state, and federal government. Y'all love promising the best and all the good things out of it. But when are we going to talk about the negatives or the ills? That's not about being a hater. That's about having a balanced conversation. That's what dialogue looks like. That's what honesty looks like amongst adults. Well, either way, apparently you can dupe Andre back to the hotel for the promise under the guise of sex. And in doing so, she then pushes for a condom. Yay! Safe sex, everybody. These are jazz hands. Let's promote that at all times. Um, Even though she knows he's married and he's honest, finally, Keisha is her name and she's back home. But the point is, he goes out to get condoms. He tries to go to the front desk. In good Mississippi cornbread fashion, the front desk clerk is judgmental because he notices a wedding band on his left hand. We may not have magnums, but we got Bibles in your room. Andre picks up on all that shade and leaves to go buy condoms. But listen, before he walks off, y'all help me understand, because I'm going to tell you, maybe this is because he's a man. I am not logging in my work computer because she said, well, you know what? Before you go, I want to keep the stove going. So basically log in. Her scheme is get into his computer and get the information out. He's opening the computer under the guise of, I'll get you access to porn so you can keep the stove warm until I come back. I get it. He wants it to happen. So be it. But y'all, I don't know. I guess it would have been more credible for me if he tried to convince her, no, we can do it without the condom. Or at least have that conversation. Then I could buy the rest. But they didn't have that conversation. So I don't know. Andre should know, yeah, as a stripper. I'm sure they're working with that. I don't want to bring something back home. But clearly he wasn't worried about it. She had to bring it to his attention. So now what? So now I'm supposed to believe you're going to give her the keys to the kingdom. Really, a whole computer. Because you want to go buy condoms. But either way, he made it back. The front desk clerk had something slick to say still. She got the information out, emailed it to herself, and was able to show Uncle Clifford what's really going down, which is PValley is not included in the new Promised Land casino. It's included by giving up this space so they can have that waterfront property, which apparently the club sits on, and they want that space. And apparently they're going to push to get it. So I think Uncle Clifford did a good job in making it clear to Autumn, you still can't get this ID until I get some information. Autumn is nervous, and you can see, like, she doesn't really do that, hustle people in such a way, because if she did, she'd be more calm about how that happened. But she wasn't. So Clifford took her phone and wrote a message to Andre as Autumn. And we later learn while Autumn is picking up her money under the alias of Savage, she barely made the cutoff. 30 minutes was left. Clifford is duped into meeting who we thought was going to be Autumn in a chair, but it's actually Uncle Clifford with the leg hanging over in that blonde wig that Autumn chose for herself. And Clifford lets him be known. Uncle Clifford say he ain't giving up PValley until hell freezes over and the devil learns how to ice skate. Hello. I said, well, that's a new method of measurement I have never considered. So may it be able to be happening for him. Here's that full patriarchy at work. I skipped over it a little bit, but let's go back. Let me read these notes. Sister Woodbine shows patriarchy at full effect. I can't understand it. Because in my mind, if the pastor, even if he was doing it to lure me into giving him more money, we now sit in a circle of people. I'm the only woman. There are 8 men. Yes, y'all, I am learning how, gender bias really still is ruminating, especially at home in 2020. My first exposure to it, as an adult, was an event on a board and how I was being overtalked and couldn't understand, like, are they old and can't hear me? Because I was the youngest person on the board. Do they need hearing aids? What's going on? But a sister pulled me to the side and told me what they do, which is how they overtalk you. And then they did hear you because they'll take your idea, they'll say it, and then everybody else at the table will agree with them like they came up with it. My ego is not attached to a lot. That was befuddling to me. Like, how did we get here? Didn't you not? I'm not some butterfly on the wall. I'm not quiet or demure for the most part. I'm pretty vocal. I can be very boisterous. in the spirit of my father, gregarian. Just come in with a big spirit, even though I may be a smaller package than he was. The point I'm trying to make, though, it was shocking it was hurtful to see how they played off. Like, everybody has some level of oppression somewhere. And unfortunately, the church is still holding on to some of those oppressions. Now, I am kind of thrilled that the pastor didn't just immediately say, we don't allow women in the pulpit, like that. But I am happy Sister Patrice did stand up for herself to be like, Elder Clydell preaching puts people to sleep. And the pastor like, but your singing, your tithing praise brings them to life. Yeah, it ain't too much life I can bring when he puts them out like that. So Elder Clydell tries to go for it because she says, and I have the gift, I guess the gift in the mouth to be able to get people to come off the money, as the pastor said, and she agreed. And so Elder Clydell tries to throw her daughter stripping in her face. I guess that's where your child gets it from. Look here, y'all. I don't know what is going on in the world that you can let somebody make you feel bad about some stuff, but I teach it even in my house. Look here. Whatever you feel some kind of way about, you go out into that world not feeling that kind of way about it. I don't care if you have to fake it until you make it. You don't let somebody know that that's your sore spot. That's your hurt area, because they will pick at it for you and they will ride you with it. And then the next thing you know, you're at their mercy. I can't personally see it for myself. Let me tell you, you couldn't have finessed any kind of money from me, but you couldn't have told me you were going to do something. And she finally tried to speak for herself and say, well, you said, and the pastor cut her off. I would have circled back and you said I was going to preach, you know? It would have got loud with it, would have started moving that neck. And I just wouldn't have not let that go on the simple fact. Like, pastor wants to big up her and say, you the best fundraiser we've ever had. You the best treasurer. We would have never been in the black. I ain't never seen a building fund come to fruition. Let me tell you that. I have seen a few burn the mortgages and been involved. But, yeah. Sister Patrice, she could have handled that differently, the way she handles her own child. And I think that's where I'm coming from with this. If you can give it to your child, you doggone well need to give it to the world. Don't be rough with your child, but you're meek and mild with everybody else. No, that's not how this is okay. Anyway, back to DJ Never Scared being a high schooler. I love when Murder brought him to the club, and Uncle Clifford, your mama ain't got no hoopty. It's Murder. So I'm like, why is Murder in the hoopty? But they just had the Hummer throwing thousands in the club. I mean, I get it. I guess they just want to floss that day or make it something else. But this is starting to get long. But y'all can tell I really like it. I really like this show. I really like the homespun dialect. They be trying. Some people don't hit it every week, but they be trying. And it's nice to hear in my little ear. We go back to the club because, you know, DJ Never Scared and showed up. Uncle Clifford complaining. Such and such had the DJ and he playing Bell Bill DeVoe and it's getting on my nerves. Gidget on the pole working. She working. She apparently, Clifford said she used to be an old Miss Cheerleader. I was like, okay, I can see some cheer skills, but if not, gymnastics is in play. Look, if them girls never had any gymnastics training, formal or informal, stripping is gymnastics. That's just it. It's some real work. Yeah. Anyway, when you're doing full sit-ups on a pole, aerial, upside down, pulling yourself, lifting and climbing, working at the 360 degrees, 90 and 180, pulling every muscle in your body moves. When it comes to that pole, just like it does in gymnastics, every muscle has to work. So anyway, it makes sense now how a previous commenter said, I think it was episode 2, I was worried about they were looking and, sourcing the land to be able to buy it and take it over from individuals. But someone mentioned in the comments, Mr. Gilmer, Mr. Remling, I forgot. But anyway, that it looks like they're under indictment. Remember the trash truck back then? L picked up a big bag, then somebody else dropped the big bag on the back of the trash truck. Now we see what's going on. Gidget's boyfriend shows up with oxy and he shows up with weed. And Uncle Clifford had some pushback. He was like, well, ain't you selling weed wings now? Yeah, that's weed, not oxy. Takes the money. Clifford checks it. Gidget's man's like, it's all there. Okay, if you say so. At the end of the day, we see Gidget's mother must be an addict because the boyfriend then questions when she asks for some oxy to give to Keyshawn, Mississippi, the stage name. He was like, you sure that ain't for your mama? Say no. The girl got hurt here and I want to be able to help her. Okay. Uncle Clifford did use Autumn Night to get to Andre to learn more about the casino. We talked about that. He got the emails and then he was able to call Andre in under the guise of meeting with Autumn to question Clifford, what is this all about? And I want some more information. He's not at liberty to disclose. Look, attorneys can't discuss stuff like that. I don't care how much you're threatening somebody. So I'm glad they held to that. He was like, well, give me somebody who can talk. There you go. That's all you gotta do, work around it like that. But looks like, y'all, Mercedes has a daughter. And we see it portrayed as a stereotypical Affluent house or well-to-do house is having a house party while the parent is away. The teens are acting up. The way it was found out, of course, kids love dry snitching on themselves. They brag about this stuff between Instagram, Snapchat, everywhere they can post it. And one of the strippers like, well, I'm a bad bitch. Why couldn't I been invited? And Mercedes goes over, fully dressed to shut it down. The little girl puts on a hood. You think she's just one of her cheerleader girls. And come to find out, when they push it back and forth, she's like, well, Mercedes is warning her. Don't use your body in such a way. Stop promoting this because this ain't what you want. You was gifted to have a gorgeous body, a beautiful face, but it could easily be turned against you. Basically be weaponized against you. Yes, your own body. Some athlete will come in with some weak game. Your panties is around your ankles and here you go. And then you'll be 13 and pregnant on a TV show. And the girl snaps back, and I wouldn't give it up like you gave me up, and ran up the stairs. Look, I'm not in that situation, but I would have had some choice words. I did what I thought was best at the time. And I'm still here actively involved. And I'm not hiding from you. I'm not ashamed of you, and I'm not lying to you. I care. I just was ill-equipped at that time. Hey, maybe we'll get it in the future. But she called the girl's mom. Mom shows up. Mom was offended and feels like, Mercedes, you knew about this, and Mercedes like I was trying to stop it, but la. Mom was away visiting a sick sister. The daughter lied like children do, and said, well, I'm gonna be staying at such and such house, and that didn't happen. She threw a party instead. So mom is like, you know what? I promise ABC XYZ. Let's just say Tyrone. I will take care of this child and I will honor him. So that led me to believe they have a shared acquaintance and he's dead. If so, if not, I don't know. What I do know is she's like, I don't want her on the cheer squad anymore. She's too focused on her body. Everything is about how she looks, how she's shaped. Baby, if you spend 5 hot minutes with any girls from 12 and up, that's all they worry about. And now because of social media, it's even worse. Oh, they just want to look like the girls that they see from back in the day. It was a video vixen. Now it's the IG models. Then it's always somebody that they're comparing themselves with, and their bandwidth at that age. I mean, you just gotta accept that's their primary focus because they ain't got nothing else going on. That's it. So I'm gonna wrap it up to say it looks like next episode, Little Murder gets challenged while Mercedes should be executing her last dance. She comes up missing or hurt. Lil Murder is being challenged for being gay or he for everybody. That's some real DLC, Department of Corrections labeling. He for everybody. But he ebbs and flows between male and female, or basically people are calling him out as a punk. YouTube, don't flag this. I'm talking about the show, and they speak like this on the show. I am going to try and get a thumbnail on this to get more attention. Thank y'all for sharing this with your friends. I am going to ask for a subscription. I don't know if thumbs up matters or not, but I would like to hear more in the comments. I do talk to people. Yay! I try to. But if you don't want me talking to you, you can just say that. And I guess you say that by not commenting. Anywho, so questions I have. Do y'all think Mercedes and this little girl are going to work it out? Do you think Mercedes is finally going to tell her mama off? Do you think Mercedes' mama, Miss Patrice Woodbine, going to let the church know where they can go? Do you think Sister Patrice going to really cut that check so Mercedes can come pick it up first thing in the morning and get her $20,000? Why Mercedes' mama needs to know what she doing with her own money? See what I mean? Just give my money back. We ain't going to talk about that. Is Autumn going to actually get some therapy? What is Autumn going to do with her $9,000? Why did she have to pick it up so fast? I thought it was in a shell court. So, whatever. Y'all think Andre working with Isaiah Washington or somebody else going to have to come in and handle that Uncle Clifford matter for him? Is Uncle Clifford going to be able to keep the club and join in on the casino earnings? I doubt that. They are always going to push out the little guy. And they don't want you earning 10 cents, even though they got 10 million. You know what I mean? So, do y'all think Corbin, the mulatto man, will be able to lease the land and convince his brothers to go along with it by holding out? Or y'all think they're going to kill somebody? I feel like it's going to be a few murders by the time we get to the season finale. Corbin is on the chopping block. I can see Mercedes having an issue, but she'll survive. She's a survivor. Autumn coming up missing. Something's going to happen there. But Clifford as well, if he keeps pushing, trying to be a part of this casino deal, and they just want his land. Y'all have a good week. Pray we have a good, safe trip, and we'll return back. I'll try and shoot while I'm down south, especially while I'm at Long John Silver, since everybody want to rag on Long John Silver not being the place. But check out my other videos. Thank you.